What's up YouTube, and welcome back to the Anabolic Outpost. Today we are making no-bake Biscoff peanut butter protein bars. This recipe is going to be one of many Biscoff flavored recipes I have on my channel, and it's for a good reason, as I absolutely love the flavor of Biscoff cookies. Like many of my viewers, I'm sure if you clicked on this video you fall in that same boat. At the end of the day though, it is still a cookie, and it's probably not something that you could eat every day. And circling back, that's the exact reason why I have so many Biscoff flavored recipes on my channel, as a great way to get that Biscoff craving solved while still fitting your macros with each recipe. And these recipes are no phony Biscoff imitations. There are real Biscoff cookies inside of each and every one of these recipes. And even with that fact, you'll shortly find out that the macros on these protein bars are better than 99% of store-bought protein bars you'll find on the shelves. So let's get into the ingredients you will need for this recipe. First off is the protein powder. Obviously, I am using a vanilla flavor. If you have something else that complements it well, go ahead and use it. And like I was talking about, those real Biscoff cookies, those are an ingredient as well. Here is a canister of oats, but what's really inside is oat flour, which you'll need for the recipe. Fat-free milk, or the milk of your choice. 0-calorie brown sugar substitute. I will link this in the description if you need to pick yourself up some. Sugar-free maple syrup. Xanthan gum. A very small amount of butter. Salt. Cinnamon. And powdered peanut butter, which we will eventually turn into the glaze on top of the protein bar. And now that I have summarized the ingredients for you, let's get to the recipe making, starting off by mixing the dry ingredients together. And you'll be mixing all of the dry ingredients other than that powdered peanut butter, which we will turn into a glaze in just a moment. Going back to the dry ingredients though, the protein powder, you're going to measure that out at 120 grams. Going in next is the oat flour, 60 grams of that. The Biscoff cookies I crushed off camera, measure that out at 45 grams, and personally I don't like to completely pulverize it into a fine powder because it is kind of nice to have some small Biscoff cookie chunks inside of the protein bar. But of course, it's your kitchen, do it however you'd like. For the xanthan gum, 1 teaspoon or half a gram, or the smallest amount you could possibly put in there. This stuff is powerful, so you only need that much. For the brown sugar substitute, it will be 15 grams. Do keep in mind though that if you are not using the Truvia blend, the amount of grams that you will need to add might be different just based on the density of their formula, but just try to eyeball it comparable to what I put in just now. A little sprinkle of cinnamon, a little sprinkle of salt, and go ahead and give those dry ingredients a good mix. Next up, I got 15 grams of the butter weighed out, and I'm going to go ahead and microwave that. Should only need about 30 seconds. And once melted down, you could add that to the mixture. From there, you could add in 30 grams of the maple syrup, and give it a good mix once again. If the mixture still looks dry but a little bit more clumpy, then you know you are on the right path. And the final ingredient we have left to add is the milk, 45 grams in total, and this I'm going to slowly pour in 3 separate batches I like to do, just mixing in between each pour. The bars are going to come together fairly slowly, but especially since we aren't baking them, this mixture is going to be very thick. In fact, the type of thick that makes you question if you're even making the recipe right, but if it's starting to look like this and half the batter is stuck in your whisk, then you know you are still on the right track. And it's going to start to get to the point where it still looks unmixed and it's harder to mix with the whisk because it's so thick, and that's when I like to get in there with my hands, make sure all of that powder at the bottom is mixed in with the rest of the mixture, and start to compress it down with my hands. You'll then take out a cookie sheet with parchment paper, or just parchment paper if you'd like. These aren't being baked, they're just going in the freezer, and split the dough into 6 equal parts, 6 different protein bars. You could use your hands to start to shape them into each individual protein bar, but don't worry if they don't look super aesthetic. Just get it into 6 equal parts and I'll show you how to even and smooth out the surfaces. I've got my individual protein bars laid out now, my hands washed, and then I like to go in with a spoon, like I just mentioned, sort of flatten out the surfaces, flatten out the sides, make them look like protein bars. And to make your life easier, hit that spoon with some cooking spray, and you'll be smooth sailing on your way to some delicious protein bars. Here's a quick overview of what they're looking like smoothed out. And there's one step left in the cooking process, the powdered peanut butter glaze. Simply just mix 30 grams of the powdered peanut butter with 30 grams of water and mix it until smooth. This is what we got, everyone's favorite low-calorie peanut butter. And we'll use the age-old pastry bag life hack for making it easy to spread across the protein bars. Just scoop up the peanut butter mixture and stuff it into one corner of the Ziploc bag. Give it some assistance and manually squeeze it into that corner and snip just a small piece off the corner. And it should make it incredibly easy and satisfying to glide across each protein powder with the peanut butter glaze. This is what they're looking like after each one is glazed up. And once done so, to further help these bars maintain shape, go ahead and throw it into the freezer for at least 10 minutes. And here we are with the final product at the end. And I know I said 10 minutes in the freezer, but personally, I just like to keep these in the freezer in general. Makes for a nice cool treat in the summertime, as well as a tip for volume. If you're trying to lose weight for whatever reason, those extra chews on each protein bar will convince your brain slightly that you are having more food than you actually are. Of course, that varies from person to person. And if you want yourself a written recipe with all of the steps, the ingredients, and the macronutrients, at the same time this video will be uploaded, there will also be a post on anabolicoutpost.com with all of that involved. And speaking of the macronutrients for the YouTube viewers, as I said, this recipe makes 6 separate protein bars, so for each one it is going to have 16 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fat, and 17 grams of protein for a total of 185 calories. Coming out to a final number of 10.8 calories per gram of protein. And I challenge you to seek the shelves of your local supermarket to find a protein bar that beats that number. That is all for today's recipe tutorial though. If you are still here, do me a favor and check out anabolicoutpost.com. Like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.